Hey everyone, how are you doing? We're happy to have you all tuning in from around the world. If you're new here, welcome to the family. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Now let's get into it. The Yemeni armed forces just launched a hypersonic ballistic missile called Palestine 2 at Ben Gurion airport in Israel. The result? Around 3 million Israelis reportedly rushed into shelters and bunkers in a panic. The missile caused widespread fear and chaos across Israel. Yemen decided to respond to Israeli aggression in its own way by firing this powerful missile. At the same time, the Wall Street Journal published a very important report explaining how Yemen's armed forces have completely shaken up the calculations of the United States, owner of the world's largest naval fleet in the Red Sea. In fact, the aircraft carrier Eisenhower reportedly had to retreat. We'll be connecting all this to what's happening in Gaza, especially after Avigdor Lieberman, head of the Yisrael Beiteinu party, accused Netanyahu of supporting ISIS-linked militias in both Gaza and Sinai to weaken Hamas and the resistance movement. Let's break it down. Yemen officially announced it struck Ben Gurion airport with a Palestine 2 hypersonic missile. And honestly, this isn't the first time. Yemen has repeatedly targeted Israel with such major missiles. According to the Wall Street Journal, top Israeli officials, both current and former military leaders, are at a loss. They don't know how to handle the Yemenis or the Houthis. The missiles are cheap for Yemen to launch, yet they cost Israel millions to intercept. Just one missile can temporarily paralyze Israel. Foreign investors have even started pulling out of Tel Aviv because of the instability. It's serious. Brigadier General Yahya Sari, spokesperson for Yemen's armed forces, said they launched the missile on the eve of Eid as a symbolic move, responding to Israel's ground invasion of Gaza and their bombardment of southern Lebanon. In effect, Yemen is positioning itself as the defender of Arab and Islamic lands, from Gaza to southern Lebanon. The Wall Street Journal report also mentions that Iran requested large quantities of materials from China to manufacture hundreds of ballistic missiles, many of which may have ended up in Yemen. Major Chinese companies have reportedly supplied the Houthis and Yemeni military with hundreds of drones, both large and small. Whether the weapons came from Russia, China, or through Iran, Yemen is achieving its goal, supporting Gaza, the Palestinian cause, and even defending Lebanon. That's the bigger picture. The report also said the US under Trump had to strike a deal with the Houthis to let American ships pass through the Red Sea without being attacked. The message was, you deal with Israel. We won't interfere with you anymore. It also revealed that only 10% of American military aircraft participated in the attacks on Yemeni forces, highlighting how a small group like the Houthis has managed to humiliate the world's strongest navy and reshape military tactics using relatively simple technology, mostly from China. Now on to the second big topic, Israel. Lieberman came out and exposed Netanyahu, accusing him of arming and funding ISIS-linked groups in Gaza to fight Hamas. He even claimed Netanyahu provided them with weapons. This is a big deal. If it weren't for internal political infighting in Israel, calls for elections, talks of dissolving the Knesset, we might not have learned about these alliances. Apparently, a guy named Yasser Abu Shabab leads a small armed group of around 100 to 500 fighters. They hijack aid entering Gaza by force and cooperate with Israel by tipping them off about Hamas leadership locations, helping the Israeli military target and kill them. These same fighters are also reselling aid meant for Gaza residents. Reports say that in several Israeli bombings in Gaza, members of this militia were on the ground assisting. A few days ago, Hamas released a video showing it had executed a group of Palestinians. At first, people thought Hamas was killing innocent civilians. Turns out, they were affiliated with Yasser Abu Shabab, who belongs to the Tarabin tribe, a tribe with members both in Sinai and Gaza. He and his relatives were involved in smuggling drugs during the time when ISIS operated in Sinai, transferring drugs from Sinai to Gaza and then on to the Negev desert. This complex web of alliances and smuggling along the Egypt-Gaza border is something we need to monitor closely. Despite being small in number, these groups are heavily armed and funded by Israel and could be used to stir trouble in Gaza or even near Egypt's borders. Hamas now faces the challenge of dealing with these Israeli-backed militias who are being paid and supplied to undermine the population of Gaza and divert aid. This internal Israeli conflict, Lieberman versus Netanyahu, over these militias could explode at any moment, especially along the Gaza-Egypt border. It's a serious matter. In the end, Netanyahu seems determined to eliminate Hamas at all costs, even if it means working with armed gangs, drug dealers, or remnants of ISIS. What's strange is that Yasser Abu Shabab claims to be operating under the Palestinian Authority and says he belongs to the Fatah movement. If that's true, and the PA hasn't issued any statement distancing itself from him, then that's a disaster. This man is helping Israel kill Hamas leaders, and no one said a word? So when you see videos claiming Hamas stole aid, it's likely these were Abu Shabab's people, former drug traffickers turned informants for the Israeli military. In conclusion, Netanyahu doesn't really care about ISIS as much as he cares about destroying Hamas,